Okay, I have 3 examples to show you on how to graph functions. All right. Now, for the first one, I'm going to write up every step, and there are 13 steps. Okay? So first one is to divide your paper into thirds. So divide paper into thirds. And that means in columns. All right, so I want 3 columns. Okay, the first column is all work with original, or with f of x. Your second one is all work with f prime of x. And your third one is all work with f double prime of x. So f of x equals negative x cubed plus 3x squared minus 2. Please, 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 please rewrite that function. That way you know that that's what you're working with. That's in that first column. Now, your second step should be to find your y-intercept. Find y-intercept. So that's f of 0 equals negative 2. So I have the point 0, negative 2. Third. Okay, so now, and I'm going to write 3 up here, is to find f prime of x. And again, that's going to be written at the top of the column. So f prime of x equals negative 3x squared plus 6x. Now, before I go to the third column, I'm going to do all the work in the second column. So I don't mess with the third column until I'm done with the second column. So I'm going to set, so 4 is to set f prime of x equal to 0 and solve. Okay, so 0 equals minus 3x. So that's x minus 2. So x equals 0 and 2. So I've solved it. So 5 is to make a sign chart. Make sign chart. Now I'm going to go further with f prime. So that's 0, 2, and I'm going to put a little f prime out here next to my bar so that I know that I'm making this sign chart with my derivative. I'm going to test negative 1, 1, and 3. I'm testing it into the factored version. So I have a negative for my negative 3, a negative for my negative 1, and a negative for the parentheses. So this version is negative, a negative for my negative 3, a positive for my 1, and a negative for my parentheses. So this version is positive, this interval, a negative for my negative 3, a positive for my positive 3, and a positive for my parentheses. So here I'm negative. So that's down arrow, up arrow, down arrow. Okay, so I'm done. I'm going to write that this is a relative min and this is a relative max. because this becomes the top of my mountain, this becomes my valley. Now, I'm done with my first derivative. So I'm going to go back over to my first column, and I'm going to find 6 is going to be find y values for relative max and relative min. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find f of 0, which I already know is -2, so that gives me the point 0, -2. I'm still going to find it again because it's my relative min, and I'm going to write relative min next to it. And then I'm going to find f of 2, which is -2 cubed plus 3 times 2 squared minus 2. So that's -8 plus 12 minus 2. So that is 2. So I have the point 2, 2, which is my relative max. Okay? So that's my information from my first derivative, and I am now done with my first derivative, completely done with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to fill out. So 7 is to fill out this information. So that I don't forget. So I am increasing from 0 to 2. I'm decreasing from -infinity to 0 union 2 to infinity. My relative max is the point 2, 2, and my relative min is the point 0, -2. Okay? Now I'm going to go up and I'm going to do my second derivative. All right? So 8 will be to take or find f double prime of x. So f double prime of x equals -6x plus 6. 9 is to set f double prime of x equal to 0 and solve. So 0 equals -6 times x minus 1. So x equals 1. 10 is to make a sign chart. Make sign chart with f double prime and I'm going to use 0 and 2. So here I get negative and negative. So this is positive. Here I get negative and positive. So this is negative. So I'm smiling and I'm frowning. 11, I'm going to go back over here and I'm going to find y value for inflection point. So that's f of 1. So that's -1 cubed plus 3 times 1 squared minus 2. So that is -1 plus 3 minus 2. So that's 0. So that's 1, 0 is the inflection point. Okay, so 12 is to fill out. So I'm concave up from negative infinity to 1, and I'm concave down from 1 to infinity, and my inflection point is 1, 0. And 13 is to graph. And the way I graph is I plot my max and min, and then I just draw it. So I come down, I curve, and I draw it, and then I say right there is my inflection point. And that's it. And I draw my little F. And I'm done. Okay? So now I'm going to go through and I'm going to do the next one, but I'm not going to write down all the steps. The steps will be in the written up notes. Okay? But I am going to work through the exact same 13 steps. Okay? So I'm writing my original function. My derivative. Solving. Sign chart. Values. Negative. Okay. 6 is positive. 1 is negative. And that's negative. Positive, positive, negative. That's negative. Positive, positive, positive. Sorry, brain's going a little kaplunk. Okay. Okay. And I'm just going to put this value here because I've worked it out and I have it. And so I'm going to let you go through it. Okay, so there's all my information. So now I'm going to go down here, I'm going to fill out my table. Zero union 4/3 to infinity. 0 to 4/3. This is 0, 0. And this is 4/3 to negative 64/9. And this is 2/3 to infinity, negative infinity to 2/3. And this is 2/3 to negative 32/9. And my graph, x, y, goes through 0, 0, and then it goes down here to 4/3, comma, negative 64/9. Okay, so it's going to come up here, go through 0, 0, come down here and curve, and then go up like this. And then I come back here and I label 2/3, comma, negative 32/9. And this is G. All right? And that would be that one. And the next one is one that we know, and it's just to show you how to get the information. And so what I'm going to do is, we know that this is the graph. We know that the vertex of this thing is negative 3, 0, and that the graph looks like this. Looks like this. Looks like this. Okay? And so, and that this is 0, 27, and that this is negative 3,